What up, YouTube? This is Tony Harvin, and welcome to my YouTube channel, secondary YouTube channel, Tony Harvin Network. I greet everybody upon this evening. Hope everybody had a wonderful day, having a wonderful evening right now. You know what I mean? Y'all know my disclaimer. I'm not a pastor, preacher. I don't hold any type of office in the church, so please do not lay claims of those titles on me. We're not here to violate any type of community guidelines, any type of copyright infringement, or any type of privacy guidelines at all. Shout out to everybody that's going to join us live now, in the middle, and those who want to catch it when it uploads to YouTube. We back with another one. We back with another conversation video on a Saturday night. I know we was on last night, the first primary YouTube channel. We had great discussion, great conversation for the most part. I posed the question to the public. Do all church brothers and sisters get along? It's a great question, a topic, or whatever the case may be. What's up to Marcia? Shout out to you. You says, good evening, brothers and sisters. Blessings. Church was really good tonight. That brother preached wonderful. I believe it was the brother at Baltimore, and the reader, Javon. You know, shout out to them. You know what I mean? Those out there who attended the service, for the most part, going back to your hotels or homes. Be safe out there in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. For the most part, I believe they have a service tomorrow. You know what I mean? Sunday, which a lot of people is anticipating that for sure. You know what I mean? And yesterday they had service also for those out there who may not know. They had service yesterday and today, and most likely for sure tomorrow. You know, if you want to go check those services out, you go to their YouTube channel, First Church Truth of God broadcast on YouTube, or you can Google it. I think another website is, let me see, ChristianWorldMedia.com, live channel, the TOG TV. Those out there, you can also check that out. What's up to Mahani? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What up to SV? Shout out to SV out there in Philly. Hope all is well. What's up to Sister Davis? Shout out to you. It says blessings. Appreciate that. Shout out to all the moderators out there. Appreciate y'all work for the most part throughout these years in general. You know what I mean? We had to cut a few off, you know what I'm saying, on this journey. But shout out to them. What's up to Leo? He says peace, Tony and family. Thank y'all for tuning in on this this Saturday night. You know what I mean? I thought about taking a rest once again, but I said, hey, why not? Let's come on here and chop it up on this channel for the most part. Maybe tomorrow we'll be on the first channel or both. But we'll see. We'll see for the most part in general. You know what I mean? And he says blessings, bro. Oh, you're talking to SB and Leo. Yeah, I really enjoyed you know, the singing for the most part of service today in general. What's up to Sister T? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. He says greetings and blessings. Back at you. Hope all is well. Even those in the background people. Shout out to y'all. You know, the background people, y'all funny. You know, it's people in the background, they don't say nothing. They don't say not a word, haven't said nothing for years. Dumb people. You know what I mean? The background people who've been low riding for years. Haven't even introduced yourself, your name, nothing. Just in the background in general. But shout out to them. Thank y'all for tuning in. For those who swipe through different lives, shout out to y'all too. Leo says many don't get along because they're still trying to understand certain doctrine. Certain doctrine. He says, and the church feels they need to step away and not be cool. So I'm trying to get this straight. He says many don't get along because they're still trying to understand doctrine. very interesting. You said the church feels they need to step away and not be cool. Are you referring to people who just, first coming in, or whatever the case may be, and it takes time to really learn. It takes time and patience and humbleness to really get a lot of things down pat. But could that be a reason that certain brothers and sisters should not get along with a person? Could that be a reason? Sister David says, I enjoyed the choir and Minister Webb. You says, Allah Haba. Huh? You said he really preached. Shout out to Minister Webb, for sure. What's up to Tanya Bond? Hope all is well with you. You know what I mean? It also could be jealousy at Leah. There's a lot of people in the churches that carry jealousy upon them. You know what I mean? Just because. Somebody said it yesterday on the other lives. Not everybody who comes to church has God in mind. You know what I mean? Some people are stuck in their immature ways in general. You know what I mean? Some people don't get out of that. They come to churches for drama. They come to churches for gossip and things like that. You see a lot of people, even on social media, YouTube, you see it. People going back and forth with each other. It doesn't matter. It's from different church organizations or within. I mean, it happens. You know what I mean? For the most part. You're saying, listen, man, if people are under holiness and stuff like that, why are these two people going at it? You know what I mean? Why can't they reason? But, it's like that. You understand? I like to stay out the way. That's me. Leo says, some folks may be in the truth for a while, and a new member comes in that may be hungrier for the truth and feel a certain way. I would classify that as like, a little bit of jealousy right there. You know what I mean? Because we all once was a new member. You know what I mean? And we all was hungry. We seem to be more hungrier in the beginning. Excited, you know what I mean, and happy, and things of that nature. So when a new member comes in and they excited and happy, I just look at it like that. That was me. You know what I mean? When I first came in and stuff like that, or when I first came into the church and things of that nature. Me personally, I ain't worried about as far as like to the extent of being jealous of someone just because they're a new member or they may look more hungrier. I don't know why people mindsets is like that. What's up to Brian? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Bahati says, thank God for PJ. I pray that God give him long life. For sure. Marcia says, the minister preached about girls mad because a sister flirting with her boyfriend. Husbands arguing because brother's looking at his wife. Well, we kind of talked about that already, right? I brought that up, 2 days straight within this week about brothers inboxing. Y'all remember that? I brought that up. Not taking the credit for anything, but we had those conversations a couple of days ago and yesterday when we talked about that. That's why I told y'all, listen, these ministers are watching. You understand? They see them, when the sisters post up screenshots of brothers who are married flirting with sisters in their inbox. You understand? It be live on Facebook. You understand? If you ain't got a lot of friends on Facebook, brothers and sisters from the church, man. Wow. I'm not even a Facebooker like that. I post when I can. I look at little things here and there, but some things pop up in my news feed. You know what I mean? And sometimes there are sisters out there from the church that post up screenshots of married men trying to talk to them. You You know what I mean? You know? It's serious. You know what I mean? Where was we? You said the minister preached about girls mad because the sister flirting with her boyfriend. Wow. That could be another reason. Flirting with her boyfriend. Well, if the man who has a sister who they're in a relationship with in the church, listen, he should stop that up front. I know I was a suspect for those who's watching. There might be some ex-girlfriends in the background from high school and stuff like that. I got to tell on myself first from the past. Yeah, I was a suspect. You, you understand? But we all mature with those who want to. And you realize, like, that stuff ain't cool. So I got to get that out the way. You understand? So if a man would just take it forefront, if he know a sister is trying to flirt with him and he has a woman that he's on a journey to marry, you shouldn't entertain it, right? You know what I mean? Even if the other sister know they're together, why entertain it? Why? There's some hot in the pants sisters out there. You know what I mean? Hot in the pants people. You know? They out there. You know what I mean? You see this brother, he's got a good thing going on with this sister over here. And some people see that they're happy and whatnot. Wow. I would have hoped to have a sister like that brother over there got. They look happy. I wonder what happened if I try to talk to her. Would she choose me over him? You know what I mean? Situations like that could happen. And you also stated that husbands arguing because brother's looking at his wife. Listen, if you got an attractive wife, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, brothers or people off the street is going to look at your wife. There's nothing you can do about it. They're going to look. You know what I mean? They're going to look. As long as they don't cross certain boundaries and lines. We cool. Long as you ain't in my future's wife inbox, we good. Or trying to give her a holy kiss all the time. You know what I mean? I believe, folks should respect other people's spouses. I do believe that. That can cause some problems, for the most part. Marcia said, it's not always the guy's fault. Some of these sisters are flirtatious. I agree with you. I think that's a high reason why some people don't get along. Even if you're in the church, you may have known this person outside of church before you came in. You may have some problems on the street before you came in. You know what I mean? And those problems could linger on in the church. But you're right about that. That's why I said there's some sisters that's hot in the pants. They are. All right, Sister Davis says, he was breaking down fake tongues, knee, and some of those false tongues I've heard in my lifetime. I don't know how to say that one. You says, I'm just saying, sad people feel comfortable with playing God. Yeah. It's a very sad thing. Leo says, what's up to Brian? Leo says, some folks been at church for a while and still hold ego and pride and can fake it because still have been delivered. But it happens a lot, though. We all need to focus on ourselves. Absolutely. Brian says, I want to meet you and Gino and marry my wife at First Church. Well, huh? Meet me? What you want to meet me for? And marry your wife at First Church? Listen, that's something you got to discuss with the ministers over there. I don't know nothing about that. You know, I don't officiate weddings. I don't want nothing to do with that one. You know? But if I happen to be at an event, a convocation, you see me there, you know, what up? How you doing? What up? You understand? Distance, handshake, elbow, you know. What's up? Sure. I don't mind. I don't mind, you know, talking to them, chopping it up, and whatnot. You know? It's a lot of brothers and sisters who got married at First Church. You know? You says you're in the hospital recovering from a stroke that almost took your life. You need prayer. Will do, Brian. Will do on the prayers. Marcia said, it's not always the God's. I think I read that one. My fault. Leo says, look all you want, but don't let me catch. I guess you meant catch you staring. What up to David B? He says, look, but better not touch. Appreciate that, Sister Davis. What's up to Bless? Sister in Christ. Shout out to you. David B, you funny. Marcia said, this make me think of the message Pastor preached about them church folks having sleepovers. Wow. There's church folks having sleepovers? Now that I didn't know about that one. That one I didn't know about. You know what I mean? But that's crazy right there. Church sleepovers? I never heard of that one before. You know? But that's crazy right there. You know? That don't even sound right. It's not saying you, but just in general. Church sleepovers. Male and females? That's just setting people up for what? Sleepovers. That reminds me of the guy, he said something about bedroom Bible study or something like that. Remind me of something like that. Bedroom Bible study. And that fellow was from the Church of Christ. Ain't that something? Church sleepover. I don't think nothing good will happen. You know? All right. Let's see where we at. What up to David B? He said greetings. Bless greetings, you said. Appreciate that once again. That's Sister Davis. And back to you, Marcia. In reference to, you know, sisters and whatnot being flirtatious. You know, some people like to start drama. They like to start that type of stuff and whatnot. Why? I don't know. You know what I mean? Some people just live for drama and gossip. You know what I mean? And one thing about me, I don't like to be involved in stuff like that. Sister David says, you playing with fire, possible 9 months later, no sleepovers. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, I agree with you. Indoor says, peace and blessings. Tonight's sermon was fire, for sure. You know what I mean? Shout out to you. Indoor Hardness as a good soldier. You know what I mean? So you're right about that once again at Sister Davis with them church sleepovers. You understand? Marcia said he was saying the young folks better not be having no sleepovers. It's okay to have a cookout together. A cookout. That's fine, you know. A couple things on the grill, you know, chopping it up, talking, and whatnot. Because, you know, things happen at night. Things happen at night. You know, it might be a brother and sister who's interested in one another. You understand? And things can happen. All right. DeWanda, what up? You says, I grew up on church sleepovers. There's none to it. Just us praying, worshiping, etc. till next morning. Of course, you have some people that might go to the back, you know. Some people that might go to the back. What is that, like VIP praying? Not. They know what they're doing with them church sleepovers. They know exactly what they're doing. All right. Leo says some church folks can be jealous of others people's goods. What you mean, like a car, house, things like that? How successful somebody is because they got it the righteous way? Is that what you're referring to at Leo? Let me know. But if that's the case, then yeah. You know, or why this person got a Mercedes Benz? Why this person got this? Why this person got that? How they get this? How they get that? Yeah, I mean, some people work hard for certain things that, you know, they have purchased and bought. Yeah, I mean, you say, cars, houses, money, for sure. There's some people out there that, you know, went to school to become a doctor, a lawyer, a judge. David says, I think it's wonderful that pastors coming up with a task force to help those with the devastation in Jamaica. Absolutely. He says, I hope people don't donate stuff they wouldn't use or don't want. Yeah, people do that. Absolutely. Yeah, man. You know, there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there in Jamaica and those islands at those temples and whatnot who have been affected by the hurricane. I mean, the winds was blowing 150 miles per hour. You understand? And that's just crazy out there. You know what I mean? Somebody asked about Georgina Flemings. Not too sure if she's out there in Jamaica or Canada. I'm not too sure. But let's just hope she's okay. Let's hope she's well. And those out there also. All right? Indoor says, in my experience, not all church brothers and sisters get along. I find it more on these YouTube platforms. Absolutely. You're right. You're right. Once you start seeing these brothers and sisters getting YouTube platforms, and there's a lot of them that got platforms. A lot of them. Now, I encourage the brothers and sisters to get platforms, right? But to utilize it. Whatever skills, whatever talents you may have, you may cook, you may sing, you may know how to fix cars and stuff like that. Put that on there. Put that on there. It's not a competition at all. It's enough for everybody to eat on here. You know what I mean? So a lot of people put on an image of themselves. He says, and care too much of what people think of them. Yep. You got to have the mindset, I don't care what anybody think. I don't care. And I really don't care. You know what I mean? I don't let nothing or anybody bother me over social media. Social media? Social media? Why should anybody care about if a brother or sister or a hater say anything negative about you? And you're right. You understand? I mean, I've seen, you know, besides the common channels, I've seen other brothers and sisters with YouTube channels and stuff like that, promoting and things of that nature. Listen, do your thing, for sure. Do your thing. But it ain't all that cracked up to what they may think it is. Yeah, it's cool to have a platform. Yeah, it's cool. You're talking on camera. It's cool. But guess what? It's pros and cons to this. Can you handle the cons? Can you handle it? You understand? I'm not in competition with nobody. If anybody want the spotlight, you can have it. I can care less. You know what I mean? That's one thing I've learned is to be humbled. When you have a platform, be humble. You know what I mean? Be very, very humble. You know, I've been on the internet since I was, 16 years old. I'm 41. 16. You know? 16. Some people don't know that. You know what I mean? You got to learn how to be humble and whatnot. You know? So I've seen that a lot too at indoor. Back and forth. Some platforms I low ride. I see in the chat room brothers and sisters going at it. Of course I'm laughing. Of course I'm laughing and whatnot. But do not let social media bother you to the point when you log out of YouTube and you're offline that is still bothering you. If you're a person that's allowing what anybody say, I don't care if it's a brother or a sister at your temple, even on Facebook, you know, you may see little things and whatnot. I've seen brothers and sisters going back and forth on Facebook. On Facebook. Not only YouTube, but Facebook, I've seen it. I forgot what one brother said from, you know, who was a follower. He said something. I forgot what it was. I would hope I could remember. And these folk, they just going back and forth. Yeah, I mean, like it's a competition or something like that. So not only on YouTube I've seen it, also Facebook. I don't be on Instagram like that or with Twitter or X, whatever you want to call that trash. But it happens. You know? And that's a sad part, what you mentioned. He says, and, you know, they care too much of what people think of them. Huh? I think PJ preached on it. Don't be a people's pleaser. Trying to look for validation or something like that. I don't look for no validation, no nothing. You understand? It's good to have conversation with the people, chop it up, whatever the case may be. If you have a platform, YouTube, hey, you want to make some extra coins off of it, fine. Do your thing. Do your thing. Utilize your skills, utilize your talents if you have a platform. And then when you're building followers and all that other stuff, don't get big-headed. You know what I mean? This ain't a competition either. This is not a competition. Or why this sister over here got 2 million followers? Why this brother over here, you know, like the cat Bernard, you know, the one who be baptizing chicken? One from South Carolina who be in his backyard baptizing chicken and all that. Y'all see the viral videos of him? I'm pretty sure some of y'all seen his videos. Well, I believe he was a Truth of God follower and still is. You understand? Doing his thing. You know, with the talents that he has. He's a cook. He's a chef. He utilizes talents on his platform. Now look at him. See what happened when you focus on your craft. The man focused on his craft of cooking and what he do in his backyard. You know, he got this little thing that he, I don't know, tuned like 100 pieces of chicken into some hot grease. You know, shout out to him for sure. Indoor artist of the year. Baptizing chicken, I seen him. Oh yeah, South Carolina guy. You know what I mean? Believe he's a Truth of God follower. A lot of people know him, you know, from the temples out there. See, he utilized his skill, utilized his talents, and he focused on it. He wasn't going back and forth with other followers. You know, bro, SV says, I seen him on IG. I didn't know he followed TOG. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Let me see where we at. I read that one. Marcia said, you sent us in the pastor said, he said, they ain't up at night praying. They know what they're doing. For sure. You know what I mean? Church sleepovers, you know, folks ain't praying. Listen, the only time they probably pray is after they finish what they have done for forgiveness. Lord, forgive me. I didn't mean to do that. I won't do it again. You know, a lot of us have been there before. A lot of us have been there before. You understand? Lord, you think about, Lord, I won't do it again. But before that, you wasn't thinking about that. You think about how fine she looked, how good she smelled, huh? How soft her skin is. You understand? And guess what? A minute and a half later, you repent. Yeah, I said it. A minute and a half later, you're repenting. You know what I mean? So what? Marcia said not to. You said not to bring up anything, but I haven't heard anything about the guy that went to debate Gino. Looks like Pastor silenced him. He don't come on here no more. Well, I believe he ran to the false prophet in Alabama. He ran to him. You know what I mean? He ran to him. He's like a $2 whore. You know, now he left First Church. He went to the guys in Canada. The guys in Canada, we ain't tell you to do that. We ain't give you permission. Now you're running to the guy in Alabama. Listen, folks in Alabama, they done talked about your family. Be careful. Be careful. That's all I got to say. Be careful. All right. Leo says, husband and wives can't be too religious when there's heat in the room. They hold a Bible dressed up from head to toe. He says, don't are afraid to get it up. What? I don't get that. You got to reread that. He says, they hold a Bible dressed up from head to toe. Don't are afraid to get it up. Give it up, I say. I didn't get that last part at Leo, what you wrote. Sister David said, just a reminder, if you have a clock on the wall or a microwave with a timer, don't forget to set your clock, set back your clock 1 hour. Oh, yeah. Thanks for letting me know that. Leo says, if you let trolls mess with your mind and platform, step off and seek for peace and strength. Absolutely. Because there's going to be trolls. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It don't matter what you're doing. You're going to have haters. You're going to have trolls. They're going to talk about you, your family. If you got kids, they're going to talk about them. They're going to talk about you. They're going to talk about certain features on your face, your body, everything. You know what I mean? It may call you ugly, you know, big ears, you know what I mean? Pointy nose, you know? Why your eyes always look tired? You too high? You smoke weed? They talk about you. Can you handle it? Huh? Can you handle it? You know? Talk about if you got what the false prophet say? You know, they had a picture of, you know, the kid's mother up there. They're going to talk about you. Can you handle it? You know, I don't care. You know what I mean? You know? They talk about everything. Everything. All right? What's up, the Frozen Mountain? Shout out to you. What's up to Kizzy? Shout out to you. Leo, what's up to Helena? Leo says, members can get jealous of pastor, maybe closer to another brother or sister. You're right. You're right about that. Or giving somebody like, you know, shouting them out and stuff like that. Why? I don't know. I really don't know why people get upset at that. You know what I mean? Because this pastor maybe, you know, such and such, great job, graduated from college, got a promotion, whatever. You get jealous of that for what? You know what I mean? But people do that. Sister David says, are you talking to indoor? Okay. He says, if anybody ought to get along, it should be brothers and sisters in Christ. Holiness. Absolutely. Absolutely. It seemed like, you know, Christians we fight more than others. Whether it's on the internet or off the internet. You know what I mean? All right, Frozen Mountain says, how do you know what talents you have or you even have them? That's a good question. Great question. I mean, some people know how to sing. Some people know how to cook. Right? Some people know how to make, design, know how to draw. You know what I mean? Things like that. Some people know about health and wellness. They went to school for medical and things like that. You know? I mean, it all depends. All depends. I'd say. All right? Indoor says, I'm sure that brother gets over righteous haters from the church that got a problem with him baptizing chicken. People be too serious for me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Man just frying chicken. All he basically saying is that, you know, he's dropping the chicken in that hot grease. And it comes up looking so good. Man. The man made some snow crab cakes. Oh, man. Whew. Man, oh, man. He had this big king crab and made some crab cakes from that. Man, oh, man. But he don't have a restaurant. He's like a catering business and whatnot. All right. Brian says, I have a first church member that works here at the hospital. Wonderful. Bro, SV says, Tiggy seems to have issue with leadership altogether. Seems that way. Endor said that clown had a live tonight crying about that debate and some false prophets that be over here validating him. It's funny, honestly. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Until those false prophets out there. I don't get y'all at all. At all. David B said that false prophet in Bama told PJ to leave Tiggy alone. He then challenged Gino to a discussion, not a debate. I seen that video. I seen it. And whatnot. That's all I'm gonna say. What up, Jermaine? Shout out to you. Leo says folks start hating at pastor's family for no reason. Yeah, people do that. People do that. You know what I mean? For no apparent reason. Right? Let me see if trying to get this something right quick. Marcia said, Gino says people in church get mad when he talk more to one person than he talk to them like little kids. Bless it. That chicken be pretty and brown. Oh, absolutely. Shout out to him. Shout out to him for sure. Brian says he was the one that helped me get a hold of one of those Bibles. Wonderful. And Brian. What up to Herd Wise? Shout out to you. Leo says if a member decides to be under an XTOG, but he still preaches truth, is that member's soul at risk? Huh? He says if member decides to be under an XTOG, are you saying if a member decides to be under a former member of the Truth of God and he's a preacher, but he still preaches the truth, is that member's soul at risk? Is that what you're trying to say? Let me know. And Leo. Jermaine says, appreciate that at Jermaine. Shout out to you. If so, that is a good question. And Leo, you know what I mean? If a member decides to be under an ex-Truth of God organization, right? And that person is a preacher, and he still preaches the truth, is that member's soul at risk? I wouldn't say no. You know what I mean? If a person just leaves an organization, they're not leaving God, right? I'd say. You know what I mean? You can't say a person's soul is at risk if this man over here is preaching the truth. He may have just left the organization just because he wanted to. You know what I mean? I think Gino said, you know, there's others out there that's preaching truth. You know what I mean? But if this person is like preaching false doctrine, that's something different right there. That's something different. I haven't heard any ex-TOG members preaching the same. I haven't. You know what I mean? I haven't. It's always been like they may have had like doctrine issues. They don't want to come up with something. So me personally, I haven't heard, I haven't seen any former members preaching the same thing as First Church. I haven't heard that. Leo says, true, but if our apostle sits him down not to preach. I'm now kind of a little confused. You said if apostle sits him down not to preach. Are you saying if he's still in the organization or not in the organization? Kind of lost on that one. David says, how can he still be preaching truth going to someone that is an ex-TOG member? Because you have to abide by their rules. Well, here's the deal. If somebody just said, listen, I don't want to be a part of this organization. You know what I mean? Of this organization. Are you saying that their soul is at risk at Sister Davis? You know what I mean? Let me know. You says abide by their rules. Now he said, Leo said if they're preaching the truth. You know, so that being said, when everything is lined up with the truth. So basically, you know, truth of God is lined up with the truth. So if Leo said that if that person is still preaching the truth, which is lined up with the truth, everything is being abided by. Leo says it's harder to understand through the limit of text here. Oh, okay. Got you. David B said that fella from Bama is also in the same condition. He used to be under the TOG. Well, it was doctrine issues. You know what I mean? Doctrine issues. If there's no doctrine issues, There is a difference between people leaving for doctrine issues. You know what I mean? Like that fella, or like other people out there. They left for doctrine issues. But my example was if a person just left just because. You know what I mean? Listen, I don't want to be a part of this organization no more. But they still yet believe everything that the truth of God preaches and stuff like that, and still will follow the guidelines that's lined up with the truth. Is that what you're trying to say at Leo? Let me know. Marcia says if they're preaching the truth, they're in good standing, they could have relocated. That's true. That's true, because I don't want to make it seem like it's just about an organization. You got to be careful with that. You got to be real careful with that, because it's not just about an organization. Gino preached on that. You know what I mean? He preached on that. It's not just about an organization. It's about God at the end of the day. That's what Gino preached on. Endor says, as a brother, it's sad to say not all so-called brothers in church are men. He says not everyone can talk about their issues and squash it and let it be. Too much pride, no repentance, and childish people. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. You know, a lot of people got a lot of pride and whatnot, for sure. At who's that? Indo? Dawana says, interesting. No organization is not the church. The people make up the church. If you leave, but you're still obedient to God, you're okay. And you put no as a question mark. It's very interesting. What's up to Carol Johnson? What's up to Looking for God? He said, just wondered if you could put it out there that I need a lawyer. I have an issue with the car dealership and I need to speak with the lawyer within the truth of God. Thank you. Well, those who are lawyers or know a good lawyer in the truth of God, feel free to put the information up for this individual looking for God. Or you can email the church, contact the church, truthofgod.com. They have a contact form where you can reach out to them. Since David says, well, I feel like most ex-TOG people has left First Church. None is standing or preaching truth. Most of them now deny Jesus Christ as God Almighty, what they have been taught, but it can happen if they leave on good terms. All right. David B says he doesn't believe that Jesus Christ is God, and PJ most likely would ordain him right away. Yeah, I'm pretty aware of what that fella preachers and stuff like that. I'm aware of that and whatnot. And I also think he preaches that married people can commit fornication. Yeah, I mean, it's another one out of Mississippi. No, that he's popping up on my YouTube. Now he's going against the one in Alabama. What is this? A Royal Rumble or something like that? You know what I mean? Like I told somebody, listen, this stuff is turning into like a reality show. All this stuff it's seen to be turning into a reality show. Like it's WWF. You know what I mean? I'm staying out the way. I want to stay out the way. False prophets, listen, you won. You won, false prophets. Take the title, take the championship belt. You won. Leave me alone. You know? I mean, they coming out the woodworks. Now, all of a sudden, all these former TOG members, they want to have YouTube channels now. All of a sudden. Popping up out of nowhere with channels. This one believed this over here. He believed married people could commit fornication. This one over here. That one over here. You You know what I mean? It's crazy. You know? We said now he's preaching two gods. David B says now, brother, is now attacking the fella in Bama. Yes, he is. Yeah. That's why I said it seems like it's turning to WWF. Bob Backlund, Mankind, Dude Love, Owen Hart, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, Jimmy Fly Snuka, Roddy Piper, Lex Luger. You understand? Bret Hart. Wow, he said the Nature Boy. Randy Savage. Man. He said Nature Boy. Sister David says, how does a married person fornicate? I am truly confused on that one. And thing about it is they don't have any scripture to back that foolishness up. That's why I said, listen, I'm staying out the way, man. You know what I mean? I'm staying out the way. You know? He said gold dust. He said gold dust. Wow. Marcia said a lot of these folks play in church and will team up with anyone that's against Gino, and Gino ain't paying them no mind. For sure. But the fella in Mississippi, he teamed up with the fella in Alabama. Now they going against each other. Man. Wow. Now Mr. Tiggy, he's running to the fella in Bama. I like to stay out the way. You understand? I like to stay out the way. You know? Herb Wise says the Skittle preachers represent gold dust. Oh yeah. Gold dust. He brought it back. David B says, I've seen on YouTube, but didn't care. I may check him out. Yeah. He seemed to be happy. All of a sudden, he's popping up on YouTube now. All of a sudden. Listen, I think YouTube know what they're doing. I think YouTube know what's going on, and they know what they're doing. All of a sudden, when he got disfellowshipped years ago, now he's popping up. YouTube. All of a sudden. Because I don't go looking for these people. YouTube recommends these videos. They know the connection. They know. So they recommend a video from the fella in Bama. Or Mississippi or whatever the case may be. You too at Brian. Appreciate that. Absolutely right. At Indoor. Sister T, said Junkyard Dog. Bro SV says Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. Good match. Sister David says Macho Man, Junkyard Dog. George the Animal Steel. You took it way back. Way back. All right. How much time we got left? We got a little bit of time left before we knock off. Looking forward to tomorrow's service. And whatnot. Do remember to set your clocks back, as Sister Davis mentioned. Time does go back, but you get an extra hour of sleep for the most part tonight. Hope everybody have a wonderful night, wonderful evening, late evening tonight, whatever the case may be. Herb Wise says, how was the Truth of God broadcast? Wonderful. Go check it out. Brother from Baltimore Temple. He preached along with the reader, Jovan Bryant. Shout out to him. You know what I mean? Shout out to you, fella. All right. Indoor says Chris Benoit was cool until he unalived his family. Leo says trolls enjoy being in the I guess you mean on a platform they go against. They are glued in when a platform keeps it real, for sure. For sure, absolutely. Good night to you too. As Sister in Christ, heard why Geno Jennings did not teach. He gave the platform to the brother from Baltimore. Indulgence. Honestly, I think anyone who has never been to a temple should go. And it says, let the representation of some, I guess you meant not let the representation of some brothers and sisters spoil it. For sure. Peace, peace, peace. Back to you at David B. Sister T says peace and blessings. Back at you. Sister David says good night. Y'all have a good night. You understand? I'm about to sign off. Lord willing, we'll be on tomorrow with some more good conversation. I'm Tony Harvin of the Tony Harvin Network. I'm out. Peace.